If you are retired and you're looking to make some extra cash, well, I'm going to tell you about 7 side hustles that in general don't require special skills or experience. These are side hustles you can work during the week or on the weekend. And by the way, I've actually worked a few of these hustles at some point in my career. So besides telling you what these positions are, I'm going to share with you some firsthand experience that I've had with these hustles. And that's all up next right here on Side Hustle Rules. Come on! Welcome back to Side Hustle Rules. My name is Lou Reyes. Well, before the break, I said I'm going to tell you about 7 side hustles. Some of them you can work part-time during the week or maybe even on the weekend. And I happen to think that these side hustles, I think they're perfect for retirees, people who just want to make some extra cash, maybe working a few hours during the week or even just work a few hours on the weekend. But before I get into the 7 side hustles, I want to make sure to ask you to consider subscribing to Side Hustle Rules. You can do that just by hitting that little button underneath the screen. I also want to let you know that in the description box of this video is our free Side Hustle Starter Kit, where I walk you through the very basic steps that every entrepreneur has taken before they launch their business. And it's yours free. Now, let's get to side hustle number 1, an usher. You know, being an usher is not a gig, a side hustle that most of us think about. Being an usher, what that means is that you'll be working at an organized event. You could be working at an entertainment complex. You could be at a concert hall. You could be working at a sports arena. And what you're going to be doing is you're going to be assisting guests. You're going to help them make their way through the venue. And you're going to also help or make sure that they've got a safe and orderly experience. According to Indeed.com, what you can expect as compensation is $10.89 per hour in the U.S. If you're somebody who's looking just for a few hours a week or maybe an evening or two or even on a Saturday or a Saturday matinee, consider a side gig as an usher. Number 2, venue security. What you'll be doing is you'll be in the guest areas. You'll be monitoring for safety and compliance issues. You'll be interacting with guests and you'll be addressing safety and security concerns. Now, I do want to point something out. These are not armed positions. You're going to act more along the lines of a customer service representative. Now, at one point early in my career, I did this side hustle. I did it for the Cleveland Browns, and what I did is I stood at one of their gates and I made sure that fans weren't coming into the stadium with bottles or cans. Now, Indeed.com says people who in this profession, they make anywhere from $10 to $15 per hour. But a friend of mine who worked a similar position for the Cleveland Indians, what he just told me was that they paid closer to $10 to $12.50 per hour. He says it depends on how long that you've been working there. Now, he also pointed out something I think is important. He says that much of this work is seasonal. So if you're someone who wants a 365-day opportunity job, well, this may not be for you. But if you're really looking for part-time, you're retired, again, you just want a few hours a week, hey, consider this position. Number 3, food demonstrator. Now, a food demonstrator, according to ZipRecruiter, what they do is they often work in grocery stores. They answer customer questions. They hand out food samples, and they also provide live demos of products. Your responsibilities, they're going to include preparing food samples for people. You're going to promote sales of a product or a service, and sometimes what you'll also do, you'll be distributing material to shoppers. Now, I learned about this gig when I spent a year working in sales for a natural food broker out of Chicago, and I often did these kind of demos. And I really found that they were fun because I enjoy meeting new people, and I also liked the fact that I could introduce them to new healthy products. Now, if you're outgoing, well, you know what? This could be a good side hustle for you. According to Glassdoor.com, the national average salary for a full-time, now this is full-time food demonstrator, they say it's $53,000 in the U.S. Now, I don't know anyone who's making that kind of dough, and pun intended, by the way, but I do know that part-time demo people, they can make anywhere from $12 to $20 to $25 per hour, and that depends if you're working for a store or if you're working for the food manufacturer, which I think is the ideal way to do food demos. Number 4, ticket office. This is a hustle that I have not done, but after looking online at all the openings for ticket office jobs and after looking at the skills required, well, you know what? I concluded that this hustle would be ideal for retirees who have a customer service background because some of these positions, yeah, they're customer service focused, like MGM Resorts International and Live Nation, which, by the way, are just two of the many organizations that have ticket office jobs posted on Indeed.com. At MGM Resorts, the primary responsibility for what they call the ticket representative, is to perform, as they say, a variety of duties, including ticket sales to all properties for their shows, their events, their exhibits, and their attractions. Now, another organization I mentioned, Live Nation, their ticket office person will assist guests at live events by performing duties like selling and collecting admission tickets and passes from guests. They're going to assist them in finding seats, searching for lost articles, and locating what they say is facilities like restrooms and telephones. Now, I want to say one more thing. I expect a lot more openings in this field as the economy slowly gets back to normal. Number 5 on our list, special event bartender. Now, we all know what a normal, or I guess I'll say a typical bartender does, is they serve drinks to thirsty customers. But a special event bartender, they do exactly as the name implies. They bartend at special events. And I've done this side hustle more than a few times in my career, and I think it's a great way to make a couple $100s for a night's work, provided, of course, you're allowed to accept tips, because some places don't allow you to have tips, especially if it's a non-profit event or maybe even at a wedding. But this gig is really cool if you enjoy talking to people. Now, if you want to find a gig like this, a special event bartender, I suggest that you scour a Craigslist, or maybe you call a venue or a banquet company in your area. But if you do happen to do that, be sure that you ask them, as I mentioned, ask if you're allowed to accept tips, because some of them, as I said, they don't let you do that. And if they don't, I would just hang up the phone, because tips, yeah, that's probably 50-60% of your income minimum. So yeah, you want to be able to accept tips. But a special event bartender, it can be a fun gig. And the thing I really liked about it is you pick up 1 or 2 days a week. That's all you need to do. And if you're somebody who is retired, hey, that may be all you want to do. Number 6 on our list is banquet server. So you're going to serve or be a server at banquets, and sometimes you're going to work on a Saturday, sometimes you'll work a Friday, or possibly even a Sunday, but that's a decision that you can make. Now, when I bartended at special events, what I saw was a lot of younger folks, and that includes college students. They were doing this job, they were servers, but I also saw many retirement age people doing this hustle, and they did it because, you know what, the work, it wasn't too challenging, and they could, at the end of the night, pocket $100 or more, and just by working at a banquet. Now, one thing we do know is this industry, yeah, it took a big hit with COVID, but the industry is slowly bouncing back, so I wouldn't rule out a side hustle as a banquet server, but you do have to keep something in mind. You will be standing on your feet for 5 to 7 hours. Now, that may not always be 5 to 7 hours straight, but there are busy times when you're rushing around. So if you don't mind doing that, yeah, you know what? This isn't a bad side gig if you're retired. Number 7 and last on our list is driver for a car dealership. Now, according to ZipRecruiter, dealership service shops rely on drivers to move cars in and out of service bays, to keep vehicle lots neat, and they may ask you to move some units, some cars, whenever they want to create a new display. Now, larger automotive groups may require you or ask you to drive a courtesy shuttle between dealerships or maybe just around the lot. Now, according to a CNBC article that I read, drivers earn an average of $300 per day plus expenses, and they can easily, according to this article, make up to $3,000 per month part-time, and that works out to about $25 per hour. Now, they say hauls often involve transporting snowbirds cars to and from the Northeast to Florida during season changes, and my former father-in-law, that's what he did. He loved the job, he had a lot of fun, and I remember he just enjoyed that quiet time. Well, that's all I've got for you, folks. I've just given you 7 side hustles that I think are ideal for retirees. But the truth is, as you probably guessed, most folks, yeah, you can do these side hustles. It really depends on how many hours of work you want per week. Now, before I end this video, I do want to ask you to consider subscribing to Side Hustle Rules. And I want to remind you to download our free Side Hustle Starter Kit. That kit, it'll walk you through the first steps of starting your own side hustle. If you do want to see a live version of the Side Hustle Starter Kit, I'm completing it now. But you can see some of the episodes on our Patreon page. Just go to patreon.com/Side Hustle Rules. Well, as I said, that's all I got for you. What I want to say is have a great day, everybody. Come on.